All right. Hey, and welcome to Glue Friday. Welcome to Friday anyway, and welcome to another day anyway. Isn't it so true? It's a cliche, but isn't it so true that every day on this side of the ground is a good one, no matter what you're going through? And you could be going through a grieving process. That's so it's not to say you need to be all happy and cheerful and happy go lucky and cheerful. It's a tough spot. Grief, grief. It's okay to honor those that you love and that you lost. I know we just recently lost one of our family members, one of our spiritual family members, Felicia Simmons. So I want to just give a shout out to her. Um, and so all families are dealing with something, but we have to continue to find ways to move on and live on. So let's continue to count those blessings and be thankful for what God has given to us in terms of another day. uh Glue Wednesday, by the way. Today is Glue Friday, but Glue Wednesday, if this is your first time on the broadcast, we've got less than 4 minutes to go. I always come on 5 minutes. I try to come on 5 minutes before the broadcast to give Facebook a chance to build the audience and let people know, hey, Sporty's on, on live. And they say, oh, well, yeah, let me wrap this up and get over there. All right. So, but Glue Friday is actually born out of Glue Wednesday. See, I had started a Glue Wednesday broadcast about 3 years ago, 2017. So 3 years ago to address, hey, what's up, Roger Carroll? To address the fact that so many people said that Wednesday was hump day from the old school, because in the old school, we didn't look at the 5 days, the 7 days a week. We look Monday to Friday, you work, and then there's the weekend. So Wednesday was the middle of the 5-day work week, and so it was called hump day. I've upgraded that to say that Wednesday is the middle of a traditional 7-day week. And so it's the day that keeps the weekend and the week beginning together. So it's the glue that pulls the week together. And that's why I bring it into a prayerful mode. And it's GLUE, God's love undoes everything. But it reminds us that God's love is not going to tear things apart, but what's torn apart, he'll bring back together. We've got less than 3 minutes, less than 2 minutes for today's message. So, but what I did is for the pandemic, I decided to increase my Glue Wednesday to also include Glue Monday and Glue Friday. So this is on 3 days a week. And then I save it to my YouTube channel. So it's just a lot of options, y'all. It's about getting the message out. And I hope that that's what you're doing, sharing this message as well as getting involved with it. I click on this once again because here's one of my good friends from way back in Chicago. I'm in Charlotte now for 10 years, but I was in Chicago for 23. And Roger Carroll Rogers, we've got less than a minute, is a person that I met back in my Chicago days. And what I'm going to shout them out because there's 3 of my friends who do this: Roger Carroll, Jose Valencia, and Victor Morris. Whenever they come on, they always say hi to the family because they've never met. But, you get, you start to see, like they say, 60 degrees of separation. And I say it's 3 degrees of separation. Okay. And so you start to get new people into your life. But what does that do? It goes to one of the central messages that I tend to use, and that is choose your messages carefully. We have less than a minute, and recognize that you're carefully being chosen as a messenger. And what that connects to is the fact that we always have referrals, and we have people that are connected. Somebody is trusting somebody based on the fact that they use your name. See, so that's whether you're referring somebody for a job, for an interview, for to get something, to be somebody's Facebook friend, whatever it is. So there's always the connection, and it's good to see people using my page to do that. Hey, Tony, what's happening? For you as well. There she goes. And hello, everybody. Yeah. See, you become a part of the family. I'm going to have to check with y'all because I'm doing something new. We've got less than a minute. I'm trying that new Facebook face look where my page is supposed to be dark and easy on the eye. So let me know how that's working for y'all. Is anybody else trying it? Hey, it's free. Try something new. That's what I do. All right, it's 1:00. Let's get into our glue. What I'm going to do today, you saw in the promo that the subject today is, are you humble? But I want to let you know that I'm going to be using 2 of my books. And what I wanted to let you know up front is that, in fact, let me show you. This is what I meant to be doing. Okay, how was it? Okay, boom, 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 bam. Okay, So I'm using two of my books today in today's message. And what I want you to know is that even though the word humble I'm going to have it as an acronym, humble is not included in Ac-Firmations. Ac-Firmations, if you don't know, I use acronyms that are affirmations. So I don't just replace, a lot of times with acronyms, people will just replace the word with what needs to be done, like FYI, for your information. Doesn't mean, doesn't necessarily have to have meaning. What I try to do is I try to take a word and replace the letters with a word that then defines what that word is about. For instance, one of my favorite ones that everybody knows is faith, Faith, feeling as if there's hope. So that's what faith is. It's feeling as if there's hope. See, so that's what the Ac-Firmation book does. So you can always use that to go through and find themes that you can use for different types of meetings, as well as have some fun with twisting the English vocabulary, because that's what I like to do. It helps you recognize the saying that, the recognition that communication is about where you are. We all hear the same word, the same sound, but not necessarily the same meaning. And we did that on our Wednesday broadcast where we played Audience Challenge, where using the same word for everybody, but everybody got somewhat of a different meaning or an outlook to it, not necessarily negative or positive, but just something different. And then starting today is actually my book that I created from when I used to be on TV in Chicago. I was on Minority Business Report, and I did the inspirational message every week on WGN. It was a nationally syndicated show. So my first 73 inspirations I put in starting today and created my book. So those of you thinking about creating a book, you don't have to write your book. Sometimes see what you've got and then put it together, which is what I've done with my books of poetry that I have as well. I didn't say I'm going to write a book of poetry. I looked at my poetry and then I said, is there a central theme? And then I chose to create my different books of poetry. So creativity is something that you have to let it go and let it flow. So those are just some things, some ways for you to look at how I do my messages, and maybe that'll help somebody, inspire them, or help them get over that hump. If you were right at the borderline and you needed to figure out what should I do, then you would make sure that you do that. So see, there goes Vic. I told you, here, Rogers family. All right. And then Tony, I'm saying Tony, but you're seeing Shirley, and she used the Ac-Firmations today in one of her groups. So that's what you want to do. So I thank you for doing that. All right. So here we go with today's message, which is, are you humble? Because I'm going to make humble an acronym, but again, it's not in Ac-Firmation. But are you humble? And my humble is HUMBLE, helpful, understanding, mutual, beliefs, love, and empathy. Those to me are the ingredients of being humble. And I'm going to show you how I use those ingredients in terms of being humble. All right. First, let's look at the H. And the H is for helpful. Being humble is about being helpful. Know that your impact stretches wide and far. You have to know that you're being helpful. So are you a mentor? Are you a coach? Are you a volunteer? All of those are ways of being helpful, which adds to your humility. Sometimes, humility is not something that we have to decide to wear. Well, I'm just very humble. No, we just need to do things. I just now thought about how Michael Jackson, once it wasn't until he died that a lot of people found out some of the charities that he used to donate to, because he wasn't worried about trying to show everybody, look, this is what I'm doing. He was like, hey, I'm helpful. I'm helping where I can. So don't worry about you broadcasting to everyone how humble you are and how you're helping this and that. Just make sure that you are helping. With that being said, I'm going to share a poem with you that I wrote, and it's called "In Fact I Do Know," and it comes from the reason I don't show you the book, because it's from a book that I have that I'm republishing. So I'm waiting for that book to come back out. It's going to be called "I Found Out I'm Living: An Affirmation of Life." So I'm going to be sharing that poem with you. But what the poem connects to is a saying from my starting today messages called blind faith. So let me read blind faith to you first, and then tell you how that walks us into "In Fact I Do Know." Blind faith. And imagine that this was a 30-second inspirational message when I did it first. I've used that term several times in describing my belief in myself and my business. And I've had it said to me, you don't know how many people you've helped, etc. And I've humbly moved the conversation along. Then I recognized that I could better share my gift by knowing and acknowledging my source. I don't seek to mock or discredit their comments. I seek to strengthen my spirit by knowing that I am doing the work created for me. How did you get where you are today? God is my source. As I help you, to him goes the glory. So that's when I created, that was that saying, blind faith, because a lot of people say, oh man, you don't know how much you helped me. You were talking to me this day. And I said, yes, I do. And somebody said, well, that's kind of arrogant. I said, no, yes, I know I helped you because I know that I am God's messenger and I've been sent to help someone. Think about it. At the altar call, what do they say? Is there one? And how many times have, even if you're already a member of the church, isn't there a time where you say that message was for me? He or she was speaking to me. You may not get to go tell the person that, but that's the feeling that you have. Well, as that messenger who delivered that messenger would like to know that, but they only really need to know they reached one, because that's what the altar call said. They said, is there one? If I reach one person with my message, then I shall have been successful in delivering God's word. So I always say when I'm coaching somebody in public speaking, and moving on to professional speaking, but definitely in public speaking, a lot of times when we volunteer, remember we're talking about humble volunteering, say you go to speak at a class on a career day, when we volunteer, we say, oh man, if I could just reach one person. Haven't you said that or heard somebody say it? Oh, if I could just reach one person. And then we go out there and try to reach everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, in the process of trying to reach everyone, you will reach no one. Because you're too busy. There are too many communication styles in your audience and in your life. You can't please everybody. Again, there's a cliche that we know. We can't please everybody. So I always say I go for my one with every speech. And I've been in my speaking business a quarter of a century now, not just 25 years, a quarter of a century. And every time I speak, whether my audience is 220 or 200 or 2,000, I go for one. I try to reach one person per speech. And that one person is me. I try to reach me. Here's why. Here's what I'm saying. If I reach me, in other words, because I said, okay, here's what I came to say. Here's how I want to say it. But I don't know how God is going to have me deliver that message. It's like when people say, oh man, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. And I'm like, yeah, me too. Because I know what I came to talk about. I don't know what I'm going to say. It's the Moses syndrome, I call it. God said, go there, I'll tell you what to say. I'll put the words in your mouth. But what I want to do as I'm speaking, and what you want to do as you're delivering a message, is just check with yourself. Did I deliver the message the way I wanted to deliver it? Did I bring the truth of what God sent me to say? And if I've done that, I'm okay now. Because guess what? Whether that audience is 220 or 200 or 2,000, maybe that person in that audience doesn't need my message today. See, maybe today it won't apply to what's going on in your life. Remember, that message was for me. But maybe today that message is not for you. But a week later, a month later, a year later, you'll say, you know what? Wait a minute. Now I get that. And yeah, I could use that. Let me do so and so. Now, if I delivered the truth, that's what I mean by reaching me. If I delivered the truth when you need that message and you follow what I said, if you decide to make me your messenger, if I have chosen the right messenger as my God and I deliver what he told me to deliver, now when you use it, you'll be blessed. And guess what? I'll be blessed too. And I may never see you again to find out I was blessed. But I have to know that what I'm delivering is a blessing. And if I feel it in my spirit, then I feel better about delivering it to your spirit for when you need it. Because what are you going to do? You may pass that on to somebody else's spirit. And they may pass that on to somebody else's spirit. So you see why it's important to reach you? So reach yourself. So let me go to the poem. So and this is, when people say, oh, you don't know how much you just helped me. And my answer is, In fact, I do know. You see, you think that because you can touch me, that I don't know how I affect or impact the lives of those I touch. Yet you tell me I touch you. Therefore, someone less powerful than my God has made an impression on your life and painted the picture of how the impactful should act, which impacts how they impact who they impact. And in that cycle, no one gets credit for knowing how they impact, thus impacting no one. So it's you who doesn't know how you affect or impact the lives of those you touch. Yet it's you who has an influence on mine because you can touch me. And the reason I worded it as I have, sometimes, you know what, we subtract our own power by thinking that, oh, well, this person is a celebrity, or, well, haven't you ever downplayed, well, look, this might be a stupid question, or maybe you don't need to know this. No. You are equal to anybody who you can have a conversation with. That means you can touch them. You're in their space. So if you don't recognize your power to be in that person's space, then you are not impacting them. You see what I'm saying? More importantly, you're not impacting yourself, or actually you are, but you're giving yourself a negative impact because you're subtracting your power when they, in fact, recognize your power enough to say, "Hey, I'll speak to you." Because can't you decide not to friend somebody on Facebook? Can't you decide not to involve somebody in a conversation? It's about you, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that you're reaching you with the truth. That's part of being being humble. We have to know that we make a difference without requiring the instant or visible proof. Because you see, the proof will come in an instant. When you can keep your spirit focused on staying calm, cool, and collected, where you planted a seed will sprout. And it will give you the peaceful flashback of having sown your belief. So know that you're making an impact and that you are touching people's lives. And especially, I want you to know that you do touch mine. And that's what blind faith is all about. The U in humble is for understanding. And what I want to do with this is I want to talk to parents. I want to talk to adults. Recognize that you weren't as smart as you are now when you were kids' age. You ever said that? Well, these kids, man, they don't seem to have it together. You weren't that smart at 13, especially not at 10. And maybe not at 17 or even at 20. You weren't that smart. So why don't we understand, and stop wondering where they got the idea from. I wonder where who they, listen to that foul mouth. I wonder where they got that from. They got it from you or someone that you've allowed to be close to them because you also haven't stopped them from using it. See, think about it. Maybe you didn't teach them how to curse. Maybe they didn't hear you cursing. But the people who they surround themselves with, their friends, that's where they're getting from. And then you allow them to bring that into your house. That's on you. You have to make it clear. Okay, you just crossed the threshold. That language, I'm okay. Yeah, that's the language you're going to use out there because I can't stop you. I'm not going to be with you every moment. But as for my house, once you cross that threshold, that language is gone. Those types of action are gone. See, so that's what it's about you. Get focused on who you are and help yourself make a difference because that's what being humble is about. So stop wondering where they got the idea from. It's about understanding. Can you discuss your thoughts? That's what understanding about. Can you discuss your thoughts? And then, also, how about having a flashback? Understand that you're powerful enough to understand. See, have a flashback. You know what? Yeah, when I was 17, I used to do this. You don't have to tell them. But you can say, yeah, wow, I used to do that. Okay, I get it. Because isn't it the teenage year? Haven't most of us said, nobody understands me? Every teenage year, no one understands me. I guess that's what we inherit as teenagers, right? But at some time in your life, it's when we have that down moment. So understanding is tough, y'all. One of them singers, he said, ain't understanding mellow, okay? All right, somebody knows that old school. Put it in there. Who's that singer that's saying ain't understanding mellow? But you can be more understanding because when you understand, you allow our children to have a future. Ladies and gentlemen, the future is every single day. We never make it to the future. It's always the present. Have you ever noticed every time you never get to tomorrow, every time you get to it, it's today? So you're working on the future. So stop beating the future up. Start living the future. And if we're passing things on to kids. They don't have to be our maternal kids. We're passing them on. And they don't even have to be children. They can be younger than us. And they don't have to be our subordinates. They could be our younger managers. Come on, everybody, y'all, is in this. And everybody can learn from someone else being understanding. Not an easy thing to do, but when you know that it's possible, it becomes incumbent upon you to find ways to make it work. Understand that you are powerful enough to be understanding. And then the M is for mutual. And the mutual I'm talking about is respect. In being humble, you have to have mutual respect. Don't give advice that you wouldn't take, and don't ask for time that you wouldn't give. Give people time to plan, and don't pop up and expect good service. To me, that's what respect is, and mutual respect. I'm not going to, I always say, I don't practice what I preach. I preach what I practice. I'm not going to give you advice that I wouldn't use, and I'm also not going to ask for time that you wouldn't give. And you know what I'm saying by that? A lot of times, say, well, have you got time for this? And then I have to think about it. If how can I get mad when you say, I don't have time for that right now? And then I get mad when, in fact, if the shoe were on the other foot, I wouldn't switch from what I was doing either. You've got your priority. You've got your day set. And if I come to disrupt it, you have to make that choice or decision. And it's a tough spot, y'all. It's a tough spot because, we also recognize Mental Health Month is not a month. It's an occurrence. It's a daily occurrence. And so you don't know if someone's reaching out for help for a certain reason. So all of these things that make us human play into that decision. But let's have the mutual respect for one another to understand, instead of being the person that gets angry about someone not giving you their time, understand what they have going on in their life. And maybe they can't give it to you. Where can you compromise? Where can you be understanding? And then figure out how you can get that help from them at a time that works better for them. Because we all have that time. And that's why I say have the flashback. And just recognize that there was somebody who you didn't give that time for. Or even recognize have the flashback when you're the person who won't give the time. Have the flashback of when you needed that time from someone and they didn't give it to you. Now, can you give them that time? It may make you change your idea, but more importantly, your approach. It may make you change or help you change your approach to saying no. Since we're halfway through the word, let me look and see if there are any comments, because sometimes I see the comments and I don't know what you're commenting on, so I can maybe pick something up. So true, 2 people just had their roofs replaced based on my recommendation. Okay, we're talking about references. Great. All right, Roger Carroll family. Use it. Okay, we said that. LOL, me too. See, I didn't check to know which one which one that was from, but I'm sure a lot of people, when y'all saw that post, y'all were laughing right with it, okay? And then, in fact, I do know 2 snaps in a circle. Thank you for that. Yeah, for the poem. Yeah, poetry. And see, there's something else we inherit. We could clap, but poetry is respect. It's respect. We snap our fingers for poetry, And you know what? Actually, gosh, what I meant to do was actually show you a copy of the poem while I was reading it. And so even though I didn't do that, I'm going to show it to you anyway, because I want you to see what happens when you request a copy of the poem, what I end up sending you. Okay. So like I said, all you'll have to do whenever you request a copy of a poem is send me an email to sporty@sportyking.com. And this is what it would look like. Those of you who've done it already got your copy, but this is what it would look like when I would send it to you. Just it makes it a memorial keepsake, okay? And that's what we want to do. So that's how I share my gift, and I'm happy to be able to share that with you. Thank you for asking. All right. Okay. So understanding. We just finished with mutual. Okay. And then the last thing I just wanted to say on mutual, I said, don't pop up and expect service. So yeah, people have their time. And so, yeah, your emergency is not my emergency. This is where all the consideration comes in. I hope you're seeing how this builds into being humble. See, if you are helpful, if you are understanding, if you are mutually respecting someone, all of these are qualities of being humble. I hope you see that. And that comes to the strongest one of the strongest to me, and that is beliefs. How strong is your faith? Really, how strong is your faith? I was on a men's ministry meeting last night for my first time in Jacksonville, Florida. Man, what a great experience. We were reading, and it was Isaiah 64:4, I believe, and corresponding to First Corinthians something, I believe. But what it was, haven't we read the thing in the Bible where it says, "Eye shall not see, ear shall not hear the goodness of God," or something to that effect? For the first time, as we were reading it, I looked at it differently. And when he asked, he said, "What are we saying here?" And I said it. And everybody was like, "Oh, man, that's so cool, Brother King." I said, you know what? We have no idea how good God is. We actually have no idea how good God is. In fact, it made me laugh, and I said, you know what? I think I'm not going to say God is good. I'm going to say God was good, because it's what God has already done in our lives that help us see how He's in our lives and how good He is. Because that's what the Bible says. You have no idea. You can't see or hear and anticipate what God is going to do, what He's got on the road for you, why He's having you hear these certain messages, what He has not allowed you to hear, purposely made sure you didn't hear certain plans or see certain things. We have no idea. So do you recognize just how powerful God is if you're in my Christian faith? And if you're not, how powerful is your God? How powerful is what you believe? And this is beliefs. How strong is your faith? What you believe in, how much do you believe in? And I also use that to remind us sometimes, don't try to beat somebody down into your faith. If they choose not, we have different faiths in this world. And if they choose not to convert to your faith, you have to let that go. According to the Christian faith, Jesus says, the altar call says, "Will you come?" It doesn't say, "Hey, get over here." It's, will you come? Is there one? It's a choice. So can we have that same calmness in our sharing of our beliefs, especially now what's going on in our lives, in our world, with the divides that we're going through? Can you be comfortable in sharing what you believe? And then recognize, you know what? I'm calmly sharing my belief. This person doesn't believe in that. I'm out of here, and it's okay. So that's what we want to do, is just really know how strong our belief is. Okay, thank you. Is it 1 Corinthians 2:9? Yes, it was. Eye has not seen, nor ear heard, nor have entered into heart of man the things which God has prepared for those who love Him. You see, look at that, because that's what I did when I looked at it on the screen last night when the guy was sharing. I read the Bible 8 times, y'all. I've read that 8 times, and for the first time I saw it. And to me, it says we have no idea how good God is, because our eyes have never seen and our ears have never heard what He has prepared for those who love Him. It's a wonderful word. It's a wonderful word. Okay, and now I'm going to throw in Vic's excellent on that, because it sure is. All right. Ooh, oh, shake the dust from your feet and keep it moving. Now, that's a whole nother scripture, and that's a whole nother topic that I can talk on, and I think I'll use it another time. So let's go to the next letter, which is the L, for love and like. And then see, to me, love is LOVE. Let ourselves value everyone. Let ourselves value everyone. And I think liking is the bonus. In terms of being humble, you have to right now, we've got the essential people now with the COVID, but haven't you always needed to love thy neighbor as thyself? Guess what? Loving thy neighbor as thyself means you have to love you. Or maybe you don't love yourself. So loving thy neighbor as thyself means that you treat your neighbor like trash if you treat yourself like trash. And that's why I say it's important to like you. See, a lot of times we say, I don't like how I look in this outfit. I don't like how I act. See, we're telling our spirit something I don't like about me. And in the process, we're subconsciously beating our spirits down. And it's a slow erosion. Okay, so start telling yourself, I like, I like. Even if you have to, I don't like how I acted, but I like that I did this. See, make that a clause. Don't make that the sentence. I don't like how I look in this outfit, but I like how I'm going to show up when I get where I go. End with that positive thing about how much you like yourself. Then, when you treat your neighbor as you treat yourself, you'll have a better outcome. And so will they. And so that'll take us to the last letter, which is the E. And that E is for empathy. Empathy. And what I want to do here is share my screen with a meme that I posted the other day about empathy. And there you see it. Okay? It says, do you expect good service wherever and whenever you show up, then later find yourself bitter because no one understands what you've just gone through? What that continues to say is that recognize that you don't know what's going on in someone else's life that doesn't allow them to realize how wonderful you are. Therefore, show them how wonderful you are by reminding them of how wonderful they are. Empathy is a two-way street. And that's the post. You'll see it in my feed as well. But that's also from my book, Starting Today. It was one of the inspirational sayings that I use. And here's what I like to add to that saying. And that is the fact empathy is a two-way street, but it's also a tough block. It's a two-way street, but it's a tough block to walk down because we never walk it alone. We just don't see everyone and everything walking or being on our path. But we can choose to believe that whatever is on that path is sent from God and that it will have an outcome that documents that we've played our role. See, as you walk your path, you are playing your role. That's what empathy is all about. And you're playing your role, what? According to his will. Didn't we pray that? Thy kingdom come, thy will be done. We pray it all the time. So we're praying according to his will as we walk our path and do what we're supposed to do, playing our role according to his will. That's how we can have empathy walking down this tough block. See, I walk down my tough block because I know God sent me down this block. Nothing that happens bothers me. It does. I mean, it shocks. But when I say bother, I mean, I'm going to get over it. Nothing is more powerful than the God that I serve. I will continue to make what others call mistakes by twisting and believing that I am doing the work God chose for me. And no matter how someone else sees me, I will continue to thank God for having us share a path, and I'll never need to know whether or not we did. Let me say that again. I will continue to thank God for having us share a path, and I'll never need to know whether or not we did. See, going back to the poem, in fact, I do know. Everybody who I touch, everybody who you touch and impact won't get a chance to come up and thank you. Again, maybe because today your message, they didn't need it. And when they need it a week from now and it helps them a month from now, they won't be able to contact you to thank you, but they'll bless you by saying that was my source. So you won't always see who's on the path with you. So I don't need to know that you're on the path. I just know that we're on the path together because of God. And knowing that you're on the path is just a bonus. And one of the reasons I thank you for signing on to Glue Friday or Wednesday or Monday. And I pray for you as we sign off. I thank you for signing on, and I pray for you as we sign off, because I know that puts us on a path together. And when you need my message, you'll thank me. And when I need yours, I'll thank you. Because it's just like the things I read in the thread sometimes. You see that sometimes I end up making out a message down the road. You feed me just as much as I feed you. And I feed you just as much as you feed me. That's what we have to know and decide and totally enjoy. So in signing off, I'll twist the English vocabulary once again. And I'll wish you a good strong end. Okay, I wish you a good strong end because you're not weak, you're humble. Wear your mask. That's the message I wanted to say again. It's a good, have a good strong end, not a weak end. Just having fun with the vocabulary, but also wear your mask because we're on this path together and we have to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of those who are around us. Thanks and God bless you. Let me see what we got in the comments there. Okay, shake the dust. Okay, okay, Dr. Doom. I'm gonna put Victor up there because his crazy self. He likes being Dr. Doom. Okay, I like. Okay, oh, that he was responding to what I like about myself. But okay, but yeah, and then take it even further, Vic. What are the qualities about being Dr. Doom that you like? See, we have to give ourselves the full narrative. Give yourself you put the whole narrative in your mind when you beat yourself down. We like saying, well, I'm my own worst enemies, and we go on and I messed this up, and we go on and beat ourselves down. You give yourself the full narrative. Give yourself the full narrative when you lift yourself up and talk about how wonderful you are. So again, have a good strong end. You're not weak, you're humble. You're helpful, you're understanding, you're mutually respectful, your belief system is strong, you love and like you love others and like yourself and vice and as well as love and like yourself, and you're empathetic because remember, I may not have been in your shoes, but I've sat in your row because all of us have been through something and are going through something, just not the same way. Thanks, God bless you, and glue, GLUE, God's love undoes everything. Ciao.